petrol Ford Ranger Raptor that costs the guts of about 80,000 euros. Who's going to buy one? As far as I see, there's three customers out there. The first is the 1 in 100 madman who's actually going to take this off-road and enjoy it, use Baja mode and have a brilliant time. The second is someone who just thinks they look cool and has absolutely zero purpose for it, and that's probably going to be the most popular. And then the third is for someone who has a use for this as a pickup truck. Most likely somebody who wears one of these. Now I say that for good reason, and that's because lots of people who work on construction sites, they might be self-employed, own their own business, and then buying something like this, which is a commercial vehicle, makes a lot of sense. There's some good tax incentives. To begin with, well, you'll get about 23% of the VAT back. So let's say this one, because it's got a V6 3-litre petrol engine, this is almost 80,000 euros. So you'll be getting about 18 grand off that price. On top of that, there's no benefit in kind on a commercial vehicle, which makes it, again, very appetizing to someone who might own their own business. The only negative there with the tax is because this is petrol, well, you can't claim the VAT back on the fuel into it like you could on a diesel. Now that said, you can get a diesel version, both single cab and double cab, and they start at about 41,000 euros. So driving it around town, well, first of all, you've got that lovely, lovely exhaust sound. I think a V6 is the best sounding engine. I think even better than a V8 in my opinion. Now you can put that in quiet mode, but you'd be mad because it's a lovely, lovely noise and very rare nowadays. Around town though, it's a big old ute. It's a big, big vehicle. It's not actually as wide as some cars. I actually think something like an Audi e-tron GT is wider, but it's extremely long and very, very tall. In fact, when you go to park this in the supermarket, you almost have to find a spot that has two in a row so you can park across both of them, because it's quite big and very oversized for Irish roads. On top of that, you actually need to be a Formula Drift driver to legitimately drive this safely if it's any way damp. I have never driven a car with a looser back end than this. It's frightening, and it's because it's got a massive engine up the front and then nothing in the rear, and it's 600 Newton meters of torque. And the back end is as playful as anything I've ever come across. In fact, I've actually been a little bit nervous driving it, and I found myself putting it into four-wheel drive mode, particularly on the motorways, because I just think you do not want to be spinning out at 120 kilometers per hour. Now another reason for that is probably the BF Goodrich off-road tyres. They're brilliant off-road, however, for the day-to-day, they don't have that much grip because they're not designed to be getting traction on tarmac. They're designed to capture it in mud, in sand, off-road. And that is, I suppose, a big reason why it's so slippy. It's also about 290 horsepower, so quite a lot of power, but luckily it has four-wheel drive mode, and we will be talking about the off-road modes in a little bit. But just back to living with it day to day, it's actually quite lovely. There's heated seats, a heated steering wheel. I really like the infotainment system, which we'll go into in a little bit. The seating position's very comfortable, and actually it's quite a nice place to be on a long journey. Even all these little orangey red accents, they really add and brighten things up here in the cabin. And actually, as a car, it's quite comfortable. So let's talk about practicality, and to open this, you just double click on your key and it opens. This, however, is manual. Now, it's a good time to talk about payload. To begin with, a very spacious area. You've even got some plugs that you can plug things in. And the payload, because this is the Ranger Raptor, is actually quite a bit smaller. So instead of about 1,000 kilograms, it is only about 600 or 700. Now towing. The regular diesel Ranger, that has a towing capacity of about 3.5 ton, which is very good. This, however, because it's the Raptor, actually has less, about 2.5 ton. And the reason for that is the suspension. The Raptor has Fox suspension, and often we hear the words Fox suspension, we go, oh, brilliant, class. But what does it actually mean? Well, it's a very sophisticated suspension system, and Fox has been around for years, mountain bikes, FMX bikes, and now even cars, off-road cars. But what it can do is the dampening is so sophisticated that it can analyze the terrain underneath it 500 times per second and adjust the suspension just to where it needs to be. So for example, if you're in the air going 80 miles per hour over some rough terrain, it will notice that and it can make sure that the car lands smoothly. It's also brilliant around town. Over speed bumps, it means you have a very nice and comfortable ride. As far as the interior goes in here, I'm pretty impressed. It's a lot more premium than you'd expect in a Ford, or actually than in a pickup truck. At the end of the day, this is an off-road vehicle that can tow, and it's got these lovely leather seats. They're really comfortable, electrically adjustable, really nice steering wheel with the racing stripe, a digital instrument cluster up there, a large vertical screen, Apple CarPlay is wireless, there's wireless charging down there, there's even somewhere to put your phone. I even love the way there's dials for the climate control, cup holders. Everything about this is really nice. They've done the perfect combination, in my opinion, of modern touches like a vertical touchscreen, but then also having good old-fashioned selection modes down here to put it into your different driving modes. So as a whole, I have to say the interior is really good. Very good job for it. I'm genuinely very impressed with this rear space. Loads of knee room, tons of headroom, the bench is nice and high off the floor, and it's actually really practical. There is a USB and USB-C charging point. There's also a 3-pin socket which could come in very handy. And then as far as a family car goes, it's actually that too. There is ice fix points back here on both sides. This car is genuinely such a good all-rounder. As far as off-road modes go, well, it's really good. The only thing is, A, I'm not really sure where to go off-roading in Ireland, and B, I don't think I'm insured to. So instead, this little zipline track is going to have to do the job. However, as you can imagine, it's a very capable off-road. And I have to say, I've driven a Raptor off-road in the desert before, and it's been absolutely excellent. And if you're buying one of these and you're willing to take it off-road, then I will take my hat. No, I will take my hat off to you, because that's what it's built for. So enjoy it, make the most of it, go to a beach, go to an off-road track and have fun with it. There you have Dundale's review of the new Ford Ranger Raptor. What an absolutely epic machine. And if you'd like to look for Fords for sale in Ireland from over 1,000 trusted dealerships, then hit the link on screen now. But that's it from us. We'll see you in the next one.